the hidden beauty in ordinary things sometimes. Life teaches us more through simple things than through grand revelations. As we awaken spiritually, we begin to realize that the divine presence is everywhere, even in the smallest manifestations of nature and in our daily life. When we become more spiritually conscious, we start to perceive that God, in His infinite spiritual wisdom, reveals Himself not only in extraordinary moments, but also in the most simple details of our daily existence. A careful look at a blooming flower, a changing sky, or even the flight of a bird teaches us something profound about divine creation and about ourselves. These small wonders invite us to reflect on our own spiritual connection with the Creator. How often are we so focused on daily concerns that we fail to perceive the beauty surrounding us? True divine guidance often hides in these small details. The spiritual awakening, which can begin with a simple observation, opens our eyes to a new way of seeing the world. Each detail of nature is a manifestation of God's power. A simple field of flowers, a bird's song, or a gentle breeze can become a transformative experience if we only allow our spiritual consciousness to expand. This process helps us understand how divine wisdom is reflected in the simplicity and harmony of the natural world, revealing a profound love for every detail that composes our existence. As we become more sensitive to these signs, we begin to perceive the energetic healing that these small experiences can offer our spirit. When we start to see beauty in simple things, we are not just appreciating nature, we are also recognizing God's presence in every moment. This helps us realize that true peace does not come from great achievements, but from our ability to spiritually connect with what surrounds us. With this new vision, spiritual transformation occurs, and we begin to live with more spiritual empathy, sensitivity, and gratitude. The journey we will explore together in this video will invite us to open our eyes to the small wonders around us. Throughout the next chapters, we will investigate how we can practically and profoundly apply this new perception to our daily life. I invite you to reflect on how the beauty of ordinary things can be the key to a deeper and more authentic spiritual connection. Spiritual awakening in simple observations. As we advance in our spiritual journey, we begin to realize that spiritual awakening is not something distant or unattainable, but something that can emerge from the simplest things. Each moment of our life can be an opportunity to connect with divine spiritual wisdom, if we are only willing to open our eyes and heart. The hidden beauty in ordinary things, like a fallen leaf on the ground or the soft song of a bird, can be the starting point for a profound spiritual transformation. By developing a sharper spiritual consciousness, we begin to notice how even the most insignificant details can teach us valuable lessons. These daily observations reveal that God's presence is not only in grand moments, but also in the simplicity of everyday life. This happens because each element of creation reflects divine greatness. Every blooming flower is an expression of God's love. Every passing cloud is a reminder of His wisdom and strength. These simple moments offer a direct connection to the divine, allowing us to experience His guidance in real time. But how can we truly perceive and internalize this hidden beauty? The first step is the practice of mindfulness. When we dedicate ourselves to looking at the world around us with more attention and intention, we begin to realize that beauty is everywhere. This means not just observing, but also feeling the divine energy that permeates everything we see. We can feel God's presence in every natural element, whether in the sound of rain falling or the warmth of the sun on our skin. These moments can heal and renew us, as they connect us to the power and peace that come from God. In moments of difficulty or challenge, we often seek answers in grand spiritual experiences. But what if the answers are already before us, in the small things? Seeing the beauty of a flower, perceiving the tranquility of a starry night, or hearing the sound of a gentle breeze can be an invitation to a spiritual pause, a reminder that we are always accompanied by divine guidance. Even in the simplest moments, this allows us to strengthen our spiritual connection and feel closer to God. Now, I want to invite you to reflect. When was the last time you stopped to admire a flower, the sky, or a bird? What did these experiences teach you about divine presence and God's love? How can these small observations change the way you live your faith in daily life? Finding God in the simplicity of everyday life, we often seek spiritual answers in distant places, in elaborate rituals, or in moments of great need. But what if the true divine presence were in the simplest things surrounding us every day? As we learn to look at life from a new perspective, we realize that God reveals himself in small actions and the most ordinary moments. By cultivating this vision, we become capable of seeing divine work, not only in great wonders, but also in the small gifts happening every instant. The exercise of observing simplicity around us helps us develop spiritual skills that allow us to recognize beauty and God's presence in everything. The spiritual wisdom that comes from the daily practice of mindfulness and reflection leads us to realize that each act of creation, from a gentle breeze to a bird's song, is an expression of divine love. This awareness teaches us to live more connected and fully, as it allows us to recognize that God is in all things, even the most humble. This is not a passive perception, but an invitation to live more presently and intentionally. When we begin to recognize God in simple things, our worldview transforms. Suddenly, a simple gesture of kindness, a stranger's smile, or the sound of leaves in the wind become moments charged with meaning. They remind us that divine guidance is available all the time. We just need to be attentive and willing to see. When we allow ourselves to live with more spiritual empathy, these experiences touch us deeply, and we realize that our spiritual journey need not be a relentless search for something distant, but a rediscovery of beauty in the things around us. Now, I would like to hear from you. Have you ever had an experience where something seemingly simple became significant in your spiritual journey? A moment when you felt God's presence in small things? Share your story in the comments below, and let's grow together in this journey of faith and discovery. With each chapter, we are deepening our spiritual connection and our perception of God's presence in our daily life. In the next chapter, we will explore how these small moments can be sources of energetic healing, renewing and strengthening us to face life's challenges. Spiritual healing in simple things. As we advance in our spiritual journey, we begin to understand that healing does not happen only in moments of great revelation or in profound rituals, but also in the simplest and most everyday things. Each moment of conscious observation, each simple gesture, and each experience of connection with nature has the potential to spiritually heal us when we are attentive to the divine presence in these moments. The true energetic healing that comes from God often manifests in the small things where we perceive His love and grace. The spiritual wisdom we acquire by opening ourselves to these small beauties allows us to see that it is often the simple act of observing something ordinary, like a flower opening to the sun or the sound of wind swaying trees, that brings us peace and the flower on a travel ways, or the sound of wind swaying trees that brings us peace, renewal. These spiritual experiences do not need to be grandiose to have a profound impact on our lives. They are, in fact, the channels through which God's healing energy flows, renewing our soul and restoring our spiritual connection. When we pause to admire a sunset, listen to the sound of waves, or observe a bird in flight, we allow ourselves to receive the divine energy present in every aspect of creation. This type of practice helps us release accumulated tensions and return to our spiritual center. Often, amid the rush of daily life, we lose connection with ourselves and with God. But by focusing on these small experiences, we are reminded of the peace and strength that come from spiritual connection. However, spiritual healing is not limited to individual experience. When we are more in tune with the world around us, we also become more sensitive to others' needs. Spiritual empathy grows as we connect with creation more deeply. This process of energetic healing, which begins within ourselves, extends to others, helping us share the divine love and compassion we receive. By understanding that God is present in everything around us, we begin to reflect His presence in our actions, words, and attitudes. How can the small things in your life be sources of healing? How can you use these simple experiences to renew your spiritual connection and strengthen your faith? Share your reflections in the comments below and continue this journey of growth with us. In the next chapter, we will explore how these moments of connection with simple things can be a point of spiritual transformation. We will delve into how they help us redefine our relationship with God and the world around us. Spiritual transformation through simplicity The more we delve into the practice of seeing divine presence in simple things, we begin to realize that this shift in perspective has the power to transform our life profoundly. The spiritual awakening that occurs when we pause to observe the world more attentively allows us to live more fully and more connected with the Creator. Each moment of contemplating something simple, like a blooming flower or the gentle rhythm of clouds in the sky, leads us to greater spiritual transformation, revealing a new way of relating to God and creation. This transformation does not occur instantly, but as a gradual process that shapes our spiritual consciousness. When we begin to perceive that God's work is in every detail of nature, our relationship with the world around us becomes deeper and more filled with gratitude. Each ordinary thing, which previously went unnoticed, now becomes an opportunity to experience divine presence, something that spiritually strengthens us and connects us with the essence of God's love. Spiritual wisdom teaches us that simple things often carry powerful lessons. For example, by observing a tree, we can reflect on God's patience, which allows for gradual and constant growth. The same happens when we see a bird in flight. It reminds us of the freedom we find in God, who invites us to soar and trust in His guidance. These small observations become moments of profound learning and spiritual transformation, as they help us align our heart with divine purposes. This process of spiritual transformation also leads us to practice spiritual empathy more intensely. As we connect with God through these small things, we begin to more clearly perceive the needs and feelings of others. Connection with creation makes us more sensitive to others' difficulties, more willing to help, and to be a reflection of divine love. Our ability to heal and promote peace in our relationships expands because we understand that just as God is present in simple things, He is also present in each person around us. Now, I want to invite you to reflect on how you have been experiencing this spiritual transformation in your own life. What are the small things that have touched your heart deeply and helped you feel more connected to God? How can these experiences inspire your spiritual journey in the coming days? In the last chapter, we will reflect on how this learning can be applied in practice and how we can live more intentionally, perceiving divine presence in the simple things of our daily life. Applying the beauty of simple things in our lives, we have reached the moment to apply everything we have learned about the hidden beauty in simple things in our own lives. As we begin to perceive God's work in every detail, we are invited to live more intentionally and attentively. God, in His infinite wisdom, reveals Himself in small actions and simple observations, and it is up to us to choose how we respond to this. By integrating these experiences into our daily life, we are challenged to live with more gratitude, empathy, and spiritual awareness, allowing divine presence to guide us in all aspects of our life. This application process begins with a change in perspective. When we start to see beauty in everything around us, in a stranger's smile, in the gentleness of a breeze, or in the simplicity of a shared meal, our life becomes more fulfilling. Each moment transforms into an opportunity to connect with God, not just in grand prayers or special occasions, but also in small daily interactions. Spiritual connection becomes a constant practice, a state of being in which we are always in tune with the divine. Moreover, when we become more aware of beauty in simple things, our spiritual transformation reflects in our actions. We become more attentive to others' needs, more willing to help, to listen, and to extend a hand. Spiritual empathy strengthens as we understand that the same presence of God we find in nature is also in the people around us. This allows us to live a more generous, compassionate, and open life to the divine love that flows through us. It is also important to realize that this change does not happen overnight. Living with this new perspective requires practice and patience. As we strive to observe beauty in simple things, we become more sensitive to divine presence and more connected to our spiritual purpose. This daily practice, however simple it may be, has the power to transform us, to renew our spiritual energy, and to help us live with more peace and clarity. At this moment, you can reflect on the impact this learning can have on your life. How can the perception of simple things help you live more fully and connected with God? In what ways can you apply this spiritual wisdom in your daily life, making each moment an opportunity to draw closer to the Creator? As we conclude this journey, Remember that while grand spiritual experiences are important, true beauty is often found in simple things. Allow yourself to see the divine in the small wonders around you, and see how this transforms your life in unexpected and powerful ways. If you have been inspired by this journey, don't forget to share this video with your friends and family. Together, we can live more fully, observing and valuing God's presence in every detail of our life. Subscribe for more content that will help strengthen your faith and spiritual connection. I wish that you continue with God's presence in each moment, whether in great joys or in the small things that compose your daily life. May your spiritual journey continue to be illuminated by the beauty that exists in everything.